Oh, hey everybody. I just got back from the market with this really beautiful top-notch asparagus for today's soup. I think you're really gonna enjoy it. Hey, welcome back everybody to Cindy Certified Recipes. You know, years ago we went on a Disney cruise and I had their awesome cream of asparagus soup. And you know me, I had to get the recipe that I'm gonna be sharing with you guys today. But before we get to that, if you do me the honors of hitting that subscribe button and then that notification bell so you get first dibs of all my upcoming videos. Now let's get to that soup. Now this soup is not your average cream soup. This soup includes a secret weapon from the French called a beurre manier. And it sounds all fancy and everything, but it's really simple. It's just equal parts flour to equal parts butter. And what you do is you just get some room temperature butter. This is 1 tablespoon of flour and 1 tablespoon of butter. And you're using the back of the spoon. You're just gonna cream that together until it forms a nice little paste. And this is your secret weapon for glorious sauces so they look all shiny and it thickens them without lumps. Cream soup, the butter adds that little something extra. So we're just gonna cream that up. And when we get that all together, gonna set it aside. So it takes a minute just to get all that, you want all that flour mixed in with that butter. So that is what you're looking for, is just this really nice, smooth looking paste. And you're gonna set that aside over by your stove because we're gonna whisk that in right when the soup is done. And then after that, the next thing I'm gonna do is, this is totally optional, but as good as this soup is from Disney, you know, I can't resist adding my own personal touch. And so here we have about a cup of heavy cream. And I'm just gonna pour that in. And this is a generous tablespoon of sriracha. And I know it's been hard to get sriracha for a while, but I've been seeing it back in the stores. So if you see it, I would definitely grab a bottle. And I'm just gonna whisk that together, because what we're gonna do with this is we're going to make like a little design on the soup with this cream and sriracha. And this stuff is so good, you guys. You're gonna, when you taste this, you're gonna wonder what else you can pour it on or drink it right out of the bottle. It's so good. So you're just whipping that to give it a little texture. You don't want it like whipped cream. You just want to give it a little lightness with the whisk. And then we're gonna set that aside. When it starts leaving lines, that's when I think it's good. And I'm gonna set that aside, and that's also at the end. Now we're gonna start chopping up our onion. That's a little bigger than a medium-sized onion, but it all works. And we're going to be cutting that up into kind of a fine dice. That's a juicy onion. So I'm going to put that in the bowl. Okay, that's good. Get all those little guys. Set him off to the side. And here we have 12 ounces of asparagus. And that's after I've cut those white ends off, you know, the woody ends. And so what I did was I put that on my scale and I measured out 12 ounces of asparagus. And what we're doing here is we are cutting that into 1/2-inch pieces. See if I can get that all in one blow here. And this is that beautiful asparagus I just picked up, so it's really super fresh, nice and green, tight tops, no shriveling, just awesome. Okay, and we're going to put that back in the bowl. And now we're going to take these ingredients over to the stove and get things going. All right, we brought everything over here to the stove, and I got my pot warming up here on medium-low because this type of pot gets hot really easy on low heat. And we're going to put in, that's a 1/4 cup of olive oil. And here's our onion we cut up. I'm going to stir those around, and we're going to saute those for approximately 5 to 7 minutes. You want them tender, but not brown. So doing this slower is better than quicker. We're about halfway through, so I'm just going to give them a stir. You want to stir them often, like I said, to get them nice and tender with minimal, if no, browning, because that will affect the color of your soup. So those are going to continue sauteing for just a few more minutes. Those are looking nice, translucent, they're getting nice and tender. So we're going to add our asparagus to the pot. And that's going to saute another 5 to 7 minutes. Till I'm going to call it al dente stage, where they're soft but not too soft. Those only have a couple more minutes to go, just seeing how tender they are with my knife. They're almost there. Tender and still nice and bright green. Going to add in 2 cups of chicken stock. You're going to bring that back up to a simmer and simmer that 10 minutes. I'm going to turn off the heat because that's been 10 minutes. And now I'm going to set up my blender, and we're going to get that pureed. Got my blender all set up. I'm going to set the canister up there and get this poured into there. Put the top on and start that pureeing. That's looking really nice and smooth, but before I pour it back in the pot, I'm going to just scrape out all these bits because I don't want big bits after I just made them into small bits. There we go. I'll pour that back in the pot. See how nice and beautiful smooth that is? The blender works a lot better than an emulsifier. That's good. And now I'm going to turn the heat back on. And now is the time to pour in 1/2 cup of heavy cream. And you're going to stir that in until it's well incorporated. And then you're going to bring that back up to a boil and boil it just a minute. You don't want to put it on super high heat though, so that cream was cold and So it'll take it just a little bit to get to a boil, and then we'll get back to it. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. You want it bubbling before you add in your beer Manier we made earlier. That's looking good about that bubbling stage. It's a little more active. Bump it up just a tad. And then we're going to bring in our secret ingredient, that beer Manier we made. And I'm going to start with half of what we made. Pop that into the pot. Then you're going to break out a whisk, and you're going to whisk that into your delicious soup. And this is subjective as to how thick you want your soup, but every time you add beer Manier or kneaded butter to a sauce or your soup, you're going to let it boil a little bit afterward, because that's when it's going to thicken it. And you can judge if you need to add more, but every time you add more, you're going to have to boil it just for a little bit again to check that thickening. I'm going to add just a little bit more. You see how it's leaving those lines behind my whisk? That's what I like to see. And if you make it too thick, you can always add a little chicken broth to it. Now this is where you get to salt and pepper your soup. And I already know that I like a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of pepper. And you're going to whisk that in. Start lowering your heat now, because it's almost done. That is finished, everybody. And now all is left to take it over and plate that up, and we're going to do some beautiful garnishing. Going to bring that delicious soup over and plate it up. This is quite a large soup bowl here. All right, and now what we get to do is decorate. And so remember our sriracha cream? So we're just gonna put that in little circles around the edge, like that. And you're gonna take your little skewer and just kind of, don't think about it, just go. And it makes that real pretty design. And then Disney calls, you believe it or not, to put a heaping helping of crab in there. Delicious, right? And then I steamed up some of this asparagus in advance. And a little bit of dill frond. And you have a delicious soup. Enjoy, everybody. You're gonna be super surprised how good this soup is, even if you're not an asparagus lover. And as always, if it's time tested, top-notch ingredients, and the talk of the table, it's Cindy certified.